Shocking History and Forgotten Historical Pictures reveals a glimpse into the past that remain largely unknown to the public, yet carry immense historical significance. These images capture raw moments, emotion, and surprising truths from different periods of human history that challenge our understanding and provoke strong emotional responses. Unlike well-known photographs displayed in museums or history books, forgotten historical pictures often show the unseen, silent witnesses to events ranging from war and human struggles to devastating natural disasters and social transformations. This article will explore various examples of forgotten historical pictures, uncovering the shocking stories behind them, and shed light on their importance in historical memory and public awareness. Historical photography emerged in the 19th century as an important medium for documenting realities of the time. Unlike the narratives provided by written history, photography offered visual evidence that could convey powerful messages and evoke empathy for individuals and groups who may have been overlooked or ignored. In many cases, these pictures captured harsh realities, from the atrocities of war, the suffering of marginalized communities, to unforgettable moments of diaspora and migration. However, these pictures often became forgotten or deliberately suppressed due to their sensitive content, political implications, or the sheer pain they evoked. One of the most shocking examples of forgotten historical pictures come from the era of World War II. This global conflict produced countless images of battlefield violence, civilian casualties, and the aftermath of genocide. One photograph that has remained largely unknown shows the horrifying scenes inside Nazi concentration camps beyond the most famous images. These photographs depict emaciated prisoners, brutally dehumanized by starvation and torture, and are often too painful to display in mainstream history books. These pictures provide a visual account of the Holocaust that written records alone cannot fully capture, reminding us the sheer inhumanity experienced by millions. Another forgotten photograph comes from the Great Depression in the 1930s. This period of severe economic hardship left millions unemployed and homeless. The famous images by photographer Dorothea Lange, such as The Migrant Mother, are well known, but many others depict the daily struggles of ordinary people trying to survive. In some forgotten pictures, we can see the conditions inside shantytowns, dust bowls, and breadlines that help us to understand the depth of poverty and social collapse. These pictures are a shocking reminder of the vulnerability of human life in the face of economic failure. In addition to the 20th century crises, forgotten historical pictures also reveal much about the colonial and post-colonial eras. Throughout the 19th and early 20th centuries, colonial powers used photography both as tool for documentation and propaganda. Some forgotten images show the brutality of colonial rule, depicting violence against indigenous populations, forced labor, and cultural destruction. These photographs often remained hidden due to political sensitivities, but now serve as important evidence of historical injustice and suffering, providing opportunities for recognition and reconciliation. Moreover, forgotten historical pictures from social movements and social change capture the quiet yet powerful moments that challenged existing power structures. In pictures from the civil rights movement in the United States, we find images of peaceful protests met with violent resistance, faces of ordinary people demonstrating courage and resilience against systemic racism. Other forgotten photos from women's suffrage and socialist movements around the world show the everyday people who fought for rights and freedom, often at the cost of their marginalization. These pictures reveal the human faces behind historical changes and remind us that progress is built on the sacrifices of many. Forgotten historical pictures also provide documentation of natural disasters and their impact on human communities. In pictures from the 1906 San Francisco earthquake or the 1923 Great Kanto earthquake in Japan, we see the scenes of destruction and despair that shaped the nation's response and future disaster management. These images are less familiar than more popular disaster photos, but they capture the scale and human impact of the catastrophes with astonishing clarity. With the advancement of digital technology, many forgotten historical pictures are being rediscovered and recontextualized. As archives can be digitized and photographs can be shared globally, public awareness about these images and their stories is increasing. This digital renaissance allows the voices of those forgotten in history to be returned, and for new generations to learn from the past's uncomfortable truths. The importance of Precis. In the dusty alleys below a bombed-out Berlin in 1945, a photograph emerged from the ruins of a two-story brick house. It was torn, yellowed, and curled at the edges. It showed a group of schoolchildren in uniform, smiling, arms linked, feet bare. Soon after the photo, the house was reduced to rubble in a Luftwaffe bombing raid. The surviving neighbors who remained remembered their laughter but forgot their names. The photo, however, remembered. Each smile held a lifetime of promises unfulfilled. Each child a life that vanished unrecorded. In the trenches of Verdun in 1916, an image captured two young French soldiers sharing a moment of laughter, a hand-rolled cigarette between them. The bullet that killed them together hours later was never photographed, but the camera captured their last joy. In the slave-trading ports along the coast of Ghana, an early daguerreotype portrayed a young African mother clutching her baby, taken by an unknown European for scientific classification. The photo remains silent on whether they made it to America or lived at all. But the sorrow in her eyes defied centuries of oppression. An American woman, her face worn by Great Depression hardship, stares blankly into a lens beside her starving children. In this iconic image, history preserved her desperation. Yet few know her real name, and fewer know how her life struggled beyond the frame. She was a shadow turned into history's monument. Within a troop train in 1942, a young Jewish boy pressed his face against a glass window. His eyes captured hope and fear as he looked back toward his father, whose hand was outstretched, but who could not board. He was never seen again. The photographer snapped the moment that became his memorial. In the ashes of Hiroshima, a burnt photo framework was recovered beneath a ton of concrete. It showed a woman's graduation ceremony, unscorched by flame, but framed in radiation. It was her last day on Earth. Just hours later, she was reduced to shadow on a stone wall, forever etched there, yet forever gone. In a Spanish Civil War orphanage, a photo of girls sitting in rows of wooden chairs was found decades later. Half had already died in bombings or the disease-strewn refugee camps. The photo, now on a display in Madrid, bears the note: only two survived. Their lives now exist only as the background to snapshots of unbearable sorrow. While technology today creates millions of images daily,